Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I am Narita Bashaliva, along with co-host Dr. Victor Fett, Dr. Katerina Shrey, and our program producer, Professor Larry Sherry. We host a weekly discussion panel on Russia's war on Ukraine with guests from Ukraine, military experts, medical personnel, academics, artists, literary figures, and relief workers. Our panel is recorded and circulated nationally and internationally. We appreciate your comments and feedback. Special thanks to Marshall University Libraries and MUIT for making this weekly event possible. If you are joining us live on Teams, please feel free to use the chat to post any questions for our guests. A quick greetings to our viewers in Ukraine from Dr. Katerina Shrey.
Вітаємо наших слухачів в Україні з глибоким поклоном. Ми далі свідки вашого страшного терпіння і також вашої великої сили. Дякую вам за вашу участь в нашій тижневій програмі.
Thank you, Katerina. Today's guest will be introduced by Dr. Victor Fett.
Thank you, Anara. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome our two guests joining us from Lviv, Ukraine. Kim Brownell, founder of Soldiers' Friends, a US-based nonprofit, and Dave from Ukrainian NGO Valhalla on Earth. They're building a new model for veteran reintegration in Ukraine, and they will talk to us about their projects. Welcome, Kim and Dave. Microphone is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us. I really do appreciate it. My name is Kim Brownell. I am from New Jersey, originally in the United States, and I just arrived in Lviv 2 days ago. I will be here now for the long haul. I'm planning on 2 years, but I'm hoping that our project will continue to grow, so maybe it might be lifelong. We'll wait and see what happens with that. Anyway, I was also in Ukraine in October of last year. I came as a volunteer. I was here for a month. I worked with several organizations, and I also do have a partner that is an active soldier in the military currently for Ukraine, and he is Ukrainian. Anyway, I created this nonprofit. I have been working on it for 2 years, even before I came to Ukraine. And then when I came to Ukraine in October, it kind of solidified, I think, really what I was thinking in regards to the nonprofit. So when I did spend quite a bit of time at Superhumans, and I met so many amazing soldiers, wounded soldiers, active soldiers. I spent a lot of time in deep discussions with them, and I kind of, got the same response from them after many hours of talking with them and, hearing their stories, everything that they had been through. The end result was pretty much, well, what happens to me now? And that was just pretty much a heart-wrenching question that I could not answer. And to be honest, I don't think it was something that Ukraine could answer as well. So, like I said, this solidified my thought process for this nonprofit that I created, because everyone is, helping Ukraine, which we appreciate more than anything. But everyone thinks of the immediate need for Ukraine, food, medical, equipment, emergency support. And I absolutely agree 100% that is needed more than anything. But unfortunately, nobody's thinking about the veterans. Ukraine itself is not thinking about the veterans. There are some programs that are available to veterans, but based off of all of my discussions that I've had and with hundreds of veterans and active soldiers, it's not enough. And unfortunately, Ukraine kind of wants to wait until the war is over to deal with this situation. And this is just not something that we can wait for. So I created and did a lot of research this nonprofit because one of the biggest things that I've heard from veterans and active soldiers currently is, they are offered counseling for PTSD and moral injury. And unfortunately, a lot of Ukrainian psychologists that I've spoken to are really not aware of moral injury or up to speed on moral injury. And unfortunately, that is a huge aspect of PTSD as well. I actually met Dave, which I'm so thrilled that he has come on board and we have now partnered. Dave has extensive background on moral injury and PTSD himself, which he will explain, with his presentation. So we are going to do something that is different and is not currently being done in Ukraine. There are institutions, there are rehabilitation centers for Ukrainian soldiers, for disabled soldiers. There are centers for traumatic brain injury. This is not going to be a center. This is an agro community that we are going to be building. Based off of everything and the research that I have received and the feedback from veterans, they'll go to a counseling session maybe once, maybe twice, but it's hard for a counselor who is, trying to help them, and I appreciate what they're trying to do, but that's not the environment that they feel comfortable in. So we are going to do a 7-day third location decompression, which Dave actually will be handling part of that, or all of that part, and he will discuss that with you. After 7 days, they will have the ability, if they feel as though they need more, to move over to our facility. And I don't want to call it a facility. It's a sanctuary, actually, more than a facility. So it is all farm-based. They will be growing all their own food. We will be having animals. We're going to try and be self-sustainable as much as possible. We are doing an equine therapy program. I have reached out to many Ukrainian NGOs and businesses. We are going to do computer training, job training. We are going to be a community. We are not going to be a facility. We are not going to be a rehabilitation center. We are going to give them a purpose. We are going to give them a responsibility. We are going to give them hope. We are going to teach them new skills, and we are going to reintegrate them back into society the best that we can. It will be short term. It will only be a 6-month stay, because we are going to be starting with 25 veterans. But the great thing about this project is it's going to be built by veterans. So the veterans are going to have the opportunity to build this community every step of the way. We will have one main community housing as far as where all our meals will be served. We'll eat together as a community. We will do peer support as well. They'll be able to, build and farm and grow vegetables. We're going to take whatever we grow. We'll go to local community markets. We're going to learn how to make bread. So we are going to do everything to make them feel human again, because that was taken away from them in this war. And like I said, unfortunately, Ukraine wants to, and I love Ukraine. Obviously, I gave up my life in the United States to move to Ukraine, to be here to help these veterans. But Ukraine wants to wait until the war is over to deal with the veterans. And unfortunately, we can't wait until the war is over, because you'll then have an influx of hundreds of thousands of veterans, and what's going to happen to them. I know there's a lot of great companies that are coming in. They want to build rehabilitation centers right now. I understand that, and I hope that goes well. But like I said, we are going to be completely different. We are strictly a farm-based model. It's been proven over and over again that they thrive in a situation like that. It helps, like I said, it helps rebuild their confidence. It gives them the routine. It gives them identity. It reduces stress, helps with the PTSD. Dave will go into all the numbers with that because he's better at that than I am. So that's why we work well together. But it's a great project. You know, it's kind of interesting. I just got to Ukraine and I've been working on this from the United States for almost a year now. And I have now had 6 different oblasts reach out to me wanting to start a community there already. And some are still heavily engaged in war. I don't think that that is a good idea at the moment, because I would hate to do this wonderful facility, not facility, but sanctuary, and, you know, God forbid something happens. So, which is why we chose Lviv to start. You know, it is one of the safer places in Ukraine. So that is why we're starting there. And we had a farm that has been donated to us, which is truly a miracle. And so, like I said, I just got here a couple days ago, so we are going to be on the ground running. And I have over 140 volunteers from all over the world that are going to be coming in to help build this community. And right now we are trying to get in with the Veterans Administration here in Lviv to see how they might be able to assist as well with this project. But either way, Dave and I are moving forward 100%, because Dave and I both want the same thing, which is to help rehabilitate these veterans the best that we can, give them the support that they need, starting with the TLD and then moving over to us. We'll be on the same site, just a little different on how it's handled. And we have psychologists that will be coming in as well, though, to help with peer support. We will not be able to take anybody that is, you know, truly medically dependent for more of traumatic brain injury, because that is something that we will not be able to handle, obviously, or deal with. So we have a really huge intake process that we have to go through in order to bring the veterans in. But I'm very excited. I'm so glad to finally be here. It's been a long time coming. This has truly consumed my life, and I know that this is something that will be extremely beneficial to Ukraine. I'm so proud and honored to be a part of it, to have created it, to have met Dave, bring Dave on board, and just to hear from the veterans alone and just to active soldiers. And I actually had 2 that reached out to me unbelievably within the last 2 days, that they were hoping that we had already started because they were getting ready to go on leave and they wanted to go into the TLD for the 7 days that they were on leave. So that should tell you something, because they have been through 4 years of hell, going on 5. And instead of going home, they wanted to go someplace to decompress. And, you know, that's unfortunately something that is taking over most of Ukrainian soldiers. So if you have any questions, I will gladly answer any questions. If not, I will turn it over to my wonderful partner, Dave. And I appreciate your time and thank you so much for letting me speak. It's all yours, Dave.
Leonardo has a question. Oh, Lenny, sorry.
Question. Yes, go ahead.
You said they're going on the TLD. Would you define TLD?
Third location decompression.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next question.
Thank you so much for everything you're doing. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. I love the fact you talk about this as a community, a sanctuary, not a facility. And I just love that approach. So I do have a question at the end of all this, but
Sure.
when we talk about veterans, at least here in the United States, we picture veterans as older people, but
Right.
these are probably 25-year-old, I don't want to say kids, but I have a kid who's 25. And
Yes.
that is a whole different, like once you see that face, it's a whole different understanding, you know. These are people who, it's not like, these are people who's, I don't want to say lost their future, but it's not somebody looking back on their life. This is somebody looking forward to life. And the question you posed so beautifully, what happens to me now? That's a beautiful place to start. I love the word sanctuary. This sounds like an amazing project, and I hope you all succeed and it becomes a model for other projects as well. My question is will there be can the 7 soldiers who are using their free time to come and stay there, at some point, is this facility set up to host guests as well? Like, let's say family wants to go visit their soldier there, or is it meant to be soldiers only, so that they're, maybe because the whole point may be just the third place, we decompress, like if there's this, I don't know, the safe space. So it looks like Dave's got an answer to that.
Well, hold on there, Dave.
You go ahead.
So on the third location decompression, the answer will be no, because that is for a sole purpose only. It is for them to strictly decompress. Now, on the soldier friend side, which is the long term, up to 6 months, we are actually working on a program to allow family to come and visit, but they will not be allowed to stay. So this is strictly for the soldiers, the time that they need. You know, the third location decompression was great. It helped them, you know, some of them can go on to family. Some of them cannot, or some of them don't have family to go back to. I've spoken to so many that no longer have family. And you're right, they're 25 years old, 27 years old, 30 years old. So that's why we're doing the 6 month as well, because, which is my side. And we will allow family to come. We'll do family events, maybe like once a month with a family event for those that are there, for those that do have family. But we have to be very careful with that because there's a lot of them that don't have family.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very good point. I didn't think of that, right? When someone else's joy is a reminder of what you miss, and however gracious and charitable you want to be, you can't help but feel lost. Yeah.
Exactly. And then what if someone doesn't have family and doesn't have anyone to come and visit them?
Yeah.
So that is something that we will do probably towards the end of the stay versus the beginning of the 6 months. So this way, like I said, the whole point is this is a community. It's not a facility. It is a group of 25 soldiers, whether active or veteran, okay, that need something because they're not getting what they need on the outside. And maybe going to counseling once a week is not helping them. Or maybe going to the veterans office and working on a computer for 3 hours, trying to learn a new skill is not helping. So we are giving them more of that structured environment to teach them all of that. But being a sanctuary that it's going to be, they're not sitting in a room, you know, 15 hours a day. They still will have to follow like a structured environment, but the environment is you got to go outside and, you know, clean the horses, or we have to, you know, make lunch. You're on lunch duty. I mean, they have their freedom, of course, but we want it to be like we are all one. We are all there together with you.
It sounds like you are advancing them normalcy until
Yes.
they can find it, which is
Exactly.
amazing. And we were talking about equine therapy. Just everything you're talking about sounds like there's physicality to it, which in itself is healing, you know, just freaking out stress as
Of
opposed to
course.
staying. Yeah, and I love it. This is amazing. This is, oh, God bless
Thank
your work. This
you.
is absolutely amazing. Thank you for using your talents. My family is from Lviv. I'm born here in the United States, but my family is from Lviv. I have actually still some family left there, which off this call, if you need contacts or local support, I'll definitely.
Oh, I would love it. I've been here 3 days or 2 days. I was stuck in Poland for 3, so because they lost my luggage, so that was a nightmare. But I've been in Lviv and I'm walking around going, okay, so I just gave up everything in the United States and I'm in this country and I'm like, I can do this. And it's just been amazing. Everyone has been so amazing to me. I've met so many wonderful people, and just telling everybody about my project and what we're doing. And the more and more that we're telling everyone, the more and more everyone is just becoming in awe of it. And all that does is solidify the thought that I had over a year ago. And it just makes me feel that I know this will work for them. And I'm just honored to be able to be a part of it. I am honored to have met Dave and bring Dave into it with me as well. And yeah, I look forward to what's going to happen with these veterans. I can't wait.
Amen.
So there you go, Dave. Now you can go. But thank you
Okay.
so much.
So I'm Dave Sheridan. I'm a British Army veteran. I did 15 years in the military. I got PTSD myself, so I went through the whole PTSD system. It didn't work for me. Luckily, the second round of counseling that I got was by a military veteran. He'd been in the military himself. He'd served it all over the world in the same situations I've been in. And then speaking to him for, I think it was 18 months to nearly 2 years, it actually helped me to engage and to, not cure my PTSD, because you can't cure PTSD, it's always there, but make the symptoms less and more manageable so that I could continue with my normal life. I have been in the Ukraine for 4.5 years. I founded Valhalla on Earth about 9 months ago. Before that, I was clearing landmines and UXO with a Danish charity out here. And what I obviously meeting men who have been on the front line, who are trying to get their lives back together, we realized that there was a lot of barriers to care here. It's not that there aren't facilities, it's not that there aren't programs, but speaking to the veterans, a lot of them don't want to engage because of the barriers to care. Some veterans don't believe that they have a problem. They see hypervigilance as a good thing because it kept them alive on the front line. They see that their behavior as being sharp and at the edge. But the problem is, when you come home, you should be feeling safe. Your family should be feeling safe with you. But because they have hypervigilance through PTSD, they still feel that they're on that cutting edge. And Kim was saying earlier that, the government here, they want to deal with PTSD after the war is won. And I understand that. The problem is, because Russia invaded in 2021, 2022, but you also had areas that were, fighting before that going on from 2014. So a lot of the veterans that were fighting in 2014, they've been carrying the weight of hypervigilance, PTSD, moral injury for so long that now they're the ones that are starting to see the effects. So therefore, it's those guys that we're trying to help, not the ones, we're also helping the ones that started fighting when Russia did the full invasion. But the main concern for us is the ones that fought in 2014, 2013, onwards, that are now feeling the effects, where they've carried that weight for so long that they no longer can feel that weight. The other side of it, I founded Valhalla on Earth because one of the things that I had a problem with the UK and with America was education of family. We send these guys back from the front line to their families, just expecting the families to be able to reintegrate them back into And when you have PTSD or moral injury, obviously you isolate, you push your family away, you know, which is what happened with me. And by the end of it, you need support from family, but you've pushed your family away because you think you're protecting them. You know, you either, with moral injury, you feel that you're a terrible person, you're a monster that doesn't deserve love, or with PTSD, that constant having somebody there makes your hypervigilance go crazy. You know, every door slam, every window shut, any noise, you know, the kid drops a toy, the hypervigilance kicks in, and you end up snapping at the child, which then makes you feel bad, you know, and you go into a guilt shame cycle, which then makes you want to isolate away from your family to protect them from that guilt shame cycle. So yeah, we formed Valhalla on Earth to educate the families in what PTSD symptoms are, the ways that they can help to calm the veteran if they are going through a PTSD moment. And we actually built an app or a web page with videos and podcasts and things all on PTSD called the Valhalla on Earth Learning Hub. That's a plug. But yeah, so so we built it because the other side of it out here is that the distance, you know, the country is massive, and you have people from every village, every small town that, you know, needs this, every family from those small towns need this help. So the other side of it is third location decompression. I went through third location decompression a number of times in the military, one for 24 hours, one for 3 days. And it's great for getting rid of just the stress of being, you know, in a war zone. But the problem is with Ukraine, these guys have been on the front line, some, you know, some for a year, some for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It takes more time. So we looked at studies of 3-day, the effects of 3-day third location decompression and 2-day, and then we expanded on that. And what we found is that the re-regulation of the, you know, the brain chemistry in the body calming down started at 3 days. So what we did was we expanded it to 7 days, because the other side of it is that you can have a negative impact if you have a group of soldiers sitting around for 7 days when they're missing their family, you know, they want to go home. So 7 days gives the best effect we can without, you know, keeping veterans from their family. If they choose the third location decompression to stay at the sanctuary, then, you know, that's absolutely fine, but they will already be on the path to re-regulating so they can continue. As Kim said, some of the guys have you know, chosen to go to the sanctuary. Some will choose to go home. They will still be in contact with us, so that if they need to then either, you know, come back or they want to come back, we can obviously talk to them about that. The other thing that we're looking to do is start up a veterans network. So each veteran that comes through will be asked if they want to go on to the network, and they'll be asked if they can be contacted if a veteran in their area has an episode or relapses into hypervigilance or obviously moral injury. And if they agree, then it means that, you know, if they contact us and say, look, I'm not in a good way, we can then contact other veterans to go and see if they can sit with them or have a cup of coffee with them or just be in their lives. Because what we don't want is them to slide back into isolation, because we all know what happens when a veteran isolates. We've seen it many times in America, many times in the UK, Australia. Yeah, they isolate, they become, you know, the only voice they hear is their own, which then puts them into a spiral, and then obviously it's bad, and we don't want that. So yeah, so the sanctuary side of it, we did studies on obviously what's been happening in the UK and in America with natural healing, or nature healing as they call it, and the results are off the charts, with, you know, purposeful work, peer support. And interestingly, there's just been a study done in Australia called Men Shed, and it's where they've been putting men into working rather than therapy. And they've noticed that after a while, once the trust has been built between the guys doing the work, the trauma starts to be talked about naturally rather than being, you know, obviously you have 1 hour, tell me about your trauma and I will try and help you. So the peer-to-peer support seems to work quite well for men. You know, so we are feeding that into both the third location decompression and into the sanctuary, where people of the same experience, the same lived life, can talk about trauma naturally rather than trying to force it in a 1 hour session. Again, talking about the trust, we during our studies we realized that 1 hour a week does not help to build trust with the psychologist. It's not that they're not, you know, they're not doing good work. The problem is that they build that trust and then they leave for a week and that trust goes back down, and they're constantly trying to rebuild that trust. But in a sanctuary setting, what will happen is obviously those guys will still talk to each other and keep that trust up. We actually did simulated models on NetLogo, looking at peer support, looking at purposeful work, looking at hormonal regulation due to 7-day in nature and with therapy. So yeah, we have data, simulated data, with obviously all those factors in, and then switched off one at a time to see which one helps what. So yeah, and we have I built a report for obviously Kim and myself to show us what areas help with different problems with PTSD and moral injury. So yeah, and then how me and Kim met, she put up something about her sanctuary on LinkedIn. I contacted her saying, you know, it's an amazing idea, it's fantastic. I'd love to have a chat with you. And then we got chatting about the third location decompression, and the rest is history, as they say. But yeah, so I'm open for any questions. And yeah.
I
That's
think
really.
anybody has to be impressed by, I mean, obviously the heart with which you perceive, but the intellect here, like the word hormonal regulation of brain chemistry, body calmness. I mean, this is clearly well researched, well thought out. This is not just people wanting to do good. This is people taking the time to educate themselves on how to do good. Truly, truly impressive. And I'm almost afraid to ask you this, because but moral injury. I want to ask you if you can please just educate us a little bit about what that is and what part it plays in PTSD, or how it's different from PTSD. But before that, I put the two links in the chat. I'm so sorry. I should just do this. I put the two links in the chat. If you could take a look and see if those are correct. If they are, this is a very impressive website. If this is your work, this is no, it's not.
That's not my work.
Sorry. Okay, that's okay.
No, it's okay. I'm just putting it into the chat now.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So that's our website.
I'm going to get rid of the other two right now.
I've just got to find the other one, so just give me 1 second.
Oh, I see it. Oh my God, it's beautiful. Well,
I think I have a link on my website to yours as well.
Yeah. For what it's worth, it looks like it's part of the same style as the ones that I initially found. So, and I love the PTSD education part, and that does look very similar to the one that I found. So this is amazing. This is amazing. Thank you. We will make sure that these websites get out to our networks and so people see them. And you can do this after the call. This is totally fine.
I'll add the learning hub. I've got it somewhere, but I've not got it where I can get it. But yeah, so I mean, the learning hub, it has kids videos on there as well, to obviously a lot gentler, but explaining why adults act the way they do when they've got PTSD or moral injury, but done in a way that isn't directly talking about the trauma or directly talking about the PTSD or moral injury itself, more talking about the behaviors and why the behaviors are a part now of obviously their family. Talking about moral injury, it has been explained as a wound to the soul. So it is when a soldier or anybody does something that doesn't fit within their moral code, either out of need or out of survival. And obviously with veterans on the front line, there's a lot more of that capability, or they don't do something that they believe they should. So a lot of that's with combat medics who see somebody who's injured, but due to the fact that obviously the bombardment's still going on, or there's still a drone around, or there's still gunfire, they can't get to them. So that person then dies, they take that guilt onto them. And this is another reason why some veterans don't like therapy, because moral injury is different to PTSD. PTSD is fear-based, moral injury is conscience-based. So when the conscience is fine, but for survival reasons or out of need, they did something that their conscience doesn't like, you then get a wound to the soul, which then festers. And strangely enough, we've just been talking about a new framework dealing with moral injury that tells a veteran that they're not broken, because the fact that they feel something means that their conscience is still good, but obviously they had to do something that is against that. Now, what we found in our studies is that when somebody has moral injury, the focus comes very much to be that one event. So what Reforge tries to do is reopen the view from that one event to everything else that was going on in that time, because a lot of the guys that we've spoken to, they were saying, I didn't get to them, or I couldn't, do this, or I couldn't do that. But when you speak to them about the whole event, you were under bombardment, there was gunfire, there were snipers, whatever, they then realized that actually it's not their fault and they couldn't do anything about it. Otherwise, they may have been the one in danger or whatever. So yeah, we're looking into Reforge now as a different kind of framework for moral injury. And it's about letting the veteran come to the conclusion that they need to come to. We don't tell them, unlike CBT, we don't tell them that's wrong. We ask them for more evidence on the story so that they broaden the picture that they're looking at, rather than narrowing it down to what moral injury makes them do. 2 guys died, it's my fault. That's 2 things, but it doesn't allow the picture for the rest of the information that was in that day or in that instant or in that scenario. So that's what we're looking at the moment.
I see that Dean Deutsch, Dean Deutsch is the former dean of the graduate school at Marshall University, has his hand up. Welcome back.
Thank you, Katarina. Your question was my question about moral injury, but I also have another question, which is what fundraising efforts are being made to support the work that you want to do? It's going to cost some money.
So, so that's my expertise. No. So to be honest, I have solely funded this project myself to this point, but I can no longer do that. But through all the amazing people that I have met, we did find 2 backers, to a certain point. But I wanted to be able to be on the ground in Ukraine first. I wanted to be able to actually show our land, show what we're doing, because I feel as though that is important before I started to do any kind of fundraising. Unfortunately, with the war in Ukraine, scams have become rampant, and I definitely did not want Dave and I to get into that kind of group. And, it is important for me and for Dave that any fundraising that is done, people actually get to see what is being done, to be a part of. This is a community, yes, to help veterans, but it's the outside community that is going to help this community. So it was important for me that they are able to see all of that. And I had to wait till I got to Ukraine to do that. So now the fundraising starts. You are more than welcome to donate if you'd like. We would love to have you be a part of it. So one of the things that we are doing on our website, which we've had donors already, we've had some donors quite a bit. So for every person that is donating, we will be planting a tree on the community grounds with a plaque for either someone that has lost a soldier in the war, for someone that maybe lost a loved one that wasn't part of Ukraine, but still wants to be a part of what we're doing. So we are going to do the entire perimeter of the community with these trees and with these plaques from all of our sponsors and donors. So it's a great project, one for the veterans to plant the trees, and also then for our donors to see and be a part of. And as a matter of fact, our lead veteran, who is also on our website, you can visit him and read more about him. He's a highly decorated commander in the war. He was just discharged after his 11th injury. He was fighting in Kharkiv. He was a Zizu commander, so special forces. Absolutely one of the most amazing and strongest men I have ever met in my life. And he will actually be coming to Lviv and moving his family from Kharkiv to Lviv. So he will be leading the veterans at the sanctuary part and helping them build, be a part of, teaching them, guiding them, just listening to them, all the support that they're going to need. And quite a few of his veteran friends are also going to be there. So it's just a wonderful project that's blossoming more and more as we go. So
Every aspect of this project sounds great.
thank you. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I do want to make a quick mention that Dean Leonard Deutsch is a very generous supporter of refugees here in our area. And so Ukrainian refugees, like, I'm very grateful for him. Anara's got her hands up.
Sure, Nara.
I'm very thankful for your great presentation. It's rare. It's rare when we talk and veterans have voices. And it turns out I was involved in a project. It's called actually Empowerment and Escaping Victimhood. But we did for children and for young people. We analyzed situation across the world in different conflicts, and we asked, and I wrote recommendation, what should be done for their actually community. And then another actually first volume is a defying victimhood, what exactly you are doing. And then we prepared general recommendation for changes. For instance, we should, the actual first recommendation strengthen respect for men's human rights, for instance, veterans' human rights, but people don't know how to do this. Or another recommendation, for instance, provide economic resources, support land and property rights for veterans. They actually address their trauma, post-war trauma. That's actually, this is a whole industry dealing with this and writing recommendations to the governments, local communities, and UN organizations. And it was published by United Nations University. So that's why we already discussed several years how to deal with this trauma, and there are certain similarities. How you help women, how you can help children, and also how you can help veterans. So that's why in our numerous recommendations that I also wrote, that it's not only employment, but there should be games, there should be sports initiatives, there should be actually educational opportunities.
We are having all of that.
Adult people, yeah, and that's
Yes.
actually there. As I mentioned, that's a whole industry, and then we also embrace a do not harm approach, because it's a very sensitive issue, and you know better than the rest what could be done. So that's why my question is, what are your recommendations for local governments, for international donors, in order to attract attention to this extremely important and forgotten area?
Dave, do you mind if I go?
You go ahead, please.
Okay. So I will be very honest with you. The government has not been very helpful. And that's okay. I understand there is an active war going on. So I totally understand. And like I said, the immediate need for them is, you know, medical supplies and food and batteries and cars and all that. And I totally understand that. So that's why it was imperative for me to get here. Because again, you see with your eyes and you feel with your eyes, even though you don't think you do, you truly do. We need to start this project like yesterday, because once we start the project, then the government will understand. Right now, the government has blinders on, and I'm not speaking anything ill towards Ukraine. I love Ukraine, but it's not a priority. We want to make it a priority, because I actually have this broken into 3 phases. So, and I want to answer one other thing that you had said as well. So there's 3 phases to this project. This is our initial phase. Once this phase is proven, then the whole idea by the time we get to the 3rd phase is the war is complete, but there are these sanctuaries throughout all of Ukraine. That is the ultimate result. The end goal for Dave and I is the sanctuaries are everywhere, running at the same system that we created, and all the veterans are getting the help that they need. So that's the end goal. Starting now is the beginning. Also, when you were saying about games and workouts and stuff, so I took a lot of time and I had sent out a call for volunteers. But I also created a huge program of what I wanted based off of what the veterans had told me and what the active soldiers have told me. So when I did interviews and I had volunteers, they had to fill out a 20-page questionnaire. And you're like, 20 pages? Well, you're dealing with veterans, and you're dealing with veterans that have PTSD. So that's an issue to begin with as well. So I have been lucky enough to pull people that specialize in archery, specialize in weight management, specialize in, lifting weights, specialize in football, specialize whatever fields it may be. So we are going to rotate that through every month. And then every month I have volunteers coming in that will stay for 2 weeks at a time, 3 weeks at a time. Next group comes in, and then it's a next round of activities. So there's always going to be something going on there. This is not going to be a place for veterans to come and then just say, well, I'm going to sit in my room for 15 hours a day.
So
We're
again,
there to help you.
Oh, sorry,
Go ahead,
again,
Dave.
that goes with the purposeful work. Yeah, the models that we were running, if the veterans are just sat around having nothing to do, it collapses. Why?
Mhm.
Because they get time to think too much, they get time to go into a negative spiral. So purposeful work is needed. They need to dig a hole, or they need to work with other veterans and build something, fences, or play football, or they need to be doing something. Because if they get to linger on the problem that they have, they then feed into it until it cascades. And once it cascades, you may never get them into engage again. And the thing is, we want to get them engaged, and then we want to keep them engaged until the problem has lessened and they can actually deal with it on their own, so that they aren't dependent on the sanctuary. They can always come back if needed, but they'll be given the tools to be able to spot when they're starting to go into a PTSD problem. Their family will have the education to be able to help them with grounding, with breathing exercises, with obviously the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that when they go home, if they do relapse for whatever reason, the family will be prepared. They will be able to spot it, and hopefully they'll be able to intervene themselves until they can get back and get themselves back to where they were. What we don't want is them to become dependent on the sanctuary. Yeah, we
You
want
know.
to give them the tools to be able to deal with this on their own, you know, when they're out back at home in their village or whatever.
Great job. You're doing great job. That's amazing. And I think it would be should be popular in across the country.
I hope so.
Well, we hope so. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, you know, I'm obviously from the United States. That's actually something the United States should do for their veterans as well. But, and especially my
In the
son's in
UK.
the Air Force in the United States. And that's kind of part of the reason this has started and this project came about, because I thought about my son and
Mhm.
what if this was him and how would it be? And knowing what they were going through here and nobody really kind of taken the initiative to kind of get it going. I says, well, that's okay. I'll do it then. So, and I'm thrilled. I'm so thrilled. It's not going to be easy, believe me. And I know that. But I'm making tremendous waves, more than I thought I was going to. I actually thought it was going to take a lot longer. And the wonderful people that actually donated the farm to us, both of their sons were in the war. They're both now complete invalids. They did not die, but they cannot do anything. And the sons were supposed to carry on the farm.
Mhm.
So that's why they donated it to us, because they wanted us to be able to carry it on for them,
Mhm.
helping the veterans as they take care of their sons. So there's a lot of Ukraine here, and there's a lot of people that really want to see it happen and for it to grow. So we're looking forward to it.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Questions or comments, please. I cannot say enough. This was absolutely remarkable hour with you two. And
Thank you.
we congratulate you again on moving to Ukraine.
Thank you.
And we hope you will be with us again. We are willing, of course, to give you our platform anytime you need it in a few months when you're not so busy, just
Oh, I
to
love it.
just to spend another hour
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
talk more, maybe more in more pointed way. Because one thing we can do, we can basically record and send this recording to other people.
Please do. Send it to
Quite,
everyone you know. Please, that'd be
I do.
wonderful.
I do. My email has 400 people, and that's essentially everyone whose email I know.
Well,
So
we are
it's
going to be starting a YouTube channel, just so you know,
love
because
it.
we will be filming the YouTube channel every day, whether it's a 5-minute video, 3-minute video, it doesn't matter. So this way, at any given time, any given moment, anyone can go onto the YouTube and they can see exactly the progress that we're making and exactly what the veterans are building and doing. So you are more
Wow.
than welcome to do that.
So
And
here's my
then,
American, sorry.
and one last thing, I'm so sorry. But if anyone would love to make a donation, you're more than welcome to. I did it through Give Butter, which is because they don't charge fees to nonprofits. So all of the money truly goes to the project. And that's on my website. But that's all I want to say. But thank you so much. This has been amazing for us.
I'm sorry for interrupting you earlier. And this is such the American in me showing. Like, I don't see how this could not be a winning reality show. I mean, in all seriousness, people watch such garbage reality TV where you just
Amazon.
have
We need to
people making
contact
poor.
Amazon or Netflix.
I mean, it would be incredibly moving. You know, think of what is out there right now. You know, people like in ridiculous romantic situations that aren't even real and making poor decisions about parenting, you know, versus this is life-giving. You know, this war shows us the absolute worst of humanity. And here the two of you are showing us the best of humanity. And the fact that neither of you is Ukrainian is kind of amazing. Here you have America and the United Kingdom, is that right? Like reaching out to a sibling country for as far as I can tell, you got nothing to gain from this.
Not one thing.
Yeah, no, in fact, you're losing. You're actually giving stuff up. And that is just amazing. Just amazing. That is just amazing. Thank you.
No,
Thank
thank
you.
you. It's going to be amazing. And like I said, that's why we're trying to do as much as possible to involve the world, because unfortunately, it's nothing but death and destruction. And when they post videos about Ukraine, it's always this blew up, that blew up, but you never see the good. And I and Dave want this more than anything, is to start showing the world the good. There is good. These veterans' lives matter. They gave up their life for their country. They cannot be forgotten. So, and I promise these veterans at Superhumans that I met that I will not forget you. I am not going to, I will make sure you are not left behind. And I am sticking to that promise. So we will show the world what we can do in just trying to give them life back. They deserve it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
Thank you.
I will ask Katerina to say a few final words to our viewers in Ukrainian, please.
Дорогі браття і сестри в Україні, ми зберігаємо вас у наших щоденних думках і молитвах. Нехай милосердний Бог тримає вас у своїй опіці. До наступного тижня. Прощаємося.
Slava
Slava
Ukraini.
Ukraini.
Slava
Героям
Ukraini.
слава!
Heram Slava.